Well, this is a video a long time coming. It's my redo of applying the Shopslick to my Shopsmith main table and extension table. Let's get right into it. First tip I'm going to give you is when you receive this material, it comes in a tube. It's all rolled up. So take it out of the tube and then reverse roll it. In other words, roll it the opposite direction so it'll lay down flat when you're ready to actually start working with it. See how nice and flat that is? Second thing is, and the way I did it, I broke the table surfaces down into sections. On the main table, you got 4 sections. You got a little skinny section there. You got the middle section. And then to the right, you got the little wider section. Of course, you got the insert. 5th section is the extension table. You're going to need 2 tools. First one, very important, a very, very sharp X-Acto knife. I like the X-Acto knife because it gives you more control. That's going to be real important when you see how you actually want to trim this. Got to be careful though, these things are real sharp. I just pricked the tip of that X-Acto knife on my thumb and it bled like a stuck pig. What I did next was just simply a rough cut, in other words oversized, each of the sections that I'd measured out on the main table and the extension table. I got those all cut down and prepared. That's what you see me doing here. I used the X-Acto knife and a straight edge just so I could maintain a straight edge on the remaining material. I wanted to make sure I had enough to do not just the main table and the extension table, but my joiner as well. Something I'll point out too, the material comes to you with an overlap of the paper backing. In other words, the material doesn't go all the way to the edge of the paper. Makes it real easy to release the material from the paper backing. So here's what I did. Like I say, it's oversized, but I started on the back side of the table, and I did line that up perfectly flush with the top of that table. That's what you see me doing right here. That way I knew when I rolled that down or pulled it down, it was going to be nice and straight. I overlapped these pieces, by the way, on the main table, only about 1/4 inch. Second tool you need is a felt-edged, I guess you'd call it a squeegee. And here's the key. You want to go little areas at a time. Left hand is pulling that paper backing not more than 1 inch, 2 inches at a time. At the same time, the right hand there is squeegeeing that all down. The point being, you want no bubbles. And take a look at this. You don't see any hint of a bubble, a wrinkle, any kind of an air pocket. Just take your time doing this, and you'll have a bubble-free, wrinkle-free, beautifully positioned piece of material. You can see the overhang there. I went ahead and trimmed that. I'm going to show you how to trim here in just a second. But I did the entire main table exactly the way. And take a look at the difference in the appearance. It's kind of an opaque look as opposed to our shiny look. Now notice the angle of this X-Acto knife. This is key, and that's why I like to have a handle on that. You want that blade to be at 45 degrees as you're trimming. And if you got a nice sharp blade like I do, it trims really super easy. The key, though, is having that angle on the blade. Now, here's the extension table. You can see I overcut that a lot more than I did on the main table. But the same routine. X-Acto knife at a 45-degree angle. You do have some little nubs on the front and back sides of those tables. So with the very tip of an X-Acto knife, you can go right around those. So I did the front part of that table first. Then I did the back side. That's what I'm doing here. Again, just keep that blade angled at 45 degrees. Go around those little nubs at the very tip of that blade. And again, take a look at the angle of that blade all the way down. And you can trim this really fine. If you do it that way, you end up with that material being exactly right on top of the very surface of your tables. Of course, the next thing I wanted to check after I have the material on there is it going to be strong enough to hold up? I got some real rough cut material here, and I just did started out with some ripping of it. Say it's very rough cut. Did a few pieces of that. Also did some pine 2x4s. I had a old piece of 2x12 that I also ripped down. I didn't show it here. But I kind of gave the table a workout. I wanted to see if there'd be any marking. And I did a lot of cross-cutting. I'm actually preparing for a project to see again on a future YouTube video. But lots of cross-cutting. You notice the miter gauge is effortless. Did all the cutting. I just took a good look at the table surfaces, and this is right after I did the cutting. I don't see any marking, scratching. It looks just like when I first laid it down, both on the main table and the extension table. Good news. Of course, longer use, we'll see what happens. So as far as a final evaluation, I'm going to leave my personal evaluation to myself for a little while. I'll let you folks that have purchased this stuff get it onto your machines, on your tables, and leave comments and tell me what you think. Is this stuff slicker than an unprotected table surface? All right, I definitely have my specific evaluation. I do have, in fact, these coefficient tests that the factory sent out showing through their testing, like I say, I'm not certain how they did it exactly, that the Shopslick should be way slicker, smoother than an unprotected regular table surface. So I'm going to leave that up to you, let you guys play with it a while and see what you think. But so far, I'm pretty pleased with it. I'm glad I did this second video. I applied this stuff way better than the first time. Of course, first time there was no real description on how to do it, a good description. The material, I believe, comes with a little page that tells you how to do it. I think it was good that I showed you exactly how to do it, the easy way to do it, with the most important part being trimming and having that blade, whatever kind of blade you're using, at an angle when you're cutting it. So with that said, I'm Mike Young, and this is today's Shopsmith. Make sure you like and subscribe. Out.